My name is Alex Wu. I'm the director of In Your Dreams, a new animated feature coming out on Netflix November 14th.
The Sandman can make your dreams come true. It's magic!
I can see your crack, Houdini.
Whoa!
No way, it worked! We're actually inside our dreams!
Thank you so much for being here. It's so exciting. The movie is so wonderful, and I would love to kind of draw some of like the really iconic, or going to be iconic, I should say, images, characters, and like, we'll say dreams and nightmares from the movie.
Okay.
So I want to start with this
Baloney
star,
Tony.
Baloney Tony.
Yes.
So tell me, where did Baloney Tony come from? Because one, it's a great name, and
Yes.
two, how do you design him?
So the inspiration for him actually came from a combination of things, but when I was young, me and my brother, we had these two, my aunt bought us these two teddy bears that were Santa related, so they're called Santa bears. And my brother, he had a bloody nose one day and he got some blood stains on his Santa bear near the tail. And so we ended up calling it Butthole Bear.
Okay, and so that became...
Yes, and no, I mean, it's just the idea, but obviously it was his stuffed animal, and so he loved it despite how gross it was. And so that was sort of the inspiration for, Baloney Tony, and this idea that like our stuffed animals, even though they can be gross and disgusting, they're still ours, and there's something about our connection to them that despite them having rancid meat odors, they bring us warmth and familiarity, and they make us feel like we're at home.
Yeah, I noticed that there's no actual pocket for bologna in here, which I was like, I want to try it at home. I want to try it for myself. So can you take me, I guess, through the design as you're drawing and making Baloney Tony? You know, what were the details that were like especially exciting?
So Baloney Tony's a giraffe, and giraffes have really long necks.
Yeah.
Our giraffe has kind of a stunted neck. But it was by design. We wanted him to look like kind of one of those badly designed stuffed animals that you get at like a state fair or in these in those claw machine games. They're always kind of cheap.
Yeah.
And so that was a big sort of a guiding principle for us. So we give him like a long, stubby kind of neck, and he's got this muzzle, which is like I kind of draw it as like a circle, and he's got these big nostrils, and he's got these buck teeth, and he's only got one good eye because he's been loved so much that he's kind of falling apart.
Yeah.
And then he's got these ossicones, which giraffes have.
I think that's the first time I've actually learned what they're actually called.
I know, right? I actually didn't know until I started working on this movie. I actually don't know what the function of those things are. I think they're kind of like antlers for a deer. And then you've got his ears. And then he's got a big round belly.
Big belly.
And then he's got these kind of itty-bitty stubby arms.
I love how proud he is.
And then he's got hooves. And then he's got these kind of stubby little feet. And then he's got this giraffe tail.
Were there ever any other animals that you had in mind for Baloney Tony? Were there ever any changes in the design? Because you've been working on this movie for 9 years, so how did Baloney Tony evolve?
He actually was always a giraffe. And that was Eric's idea. So Eric was the co-writer and co-director of this film. Yeah, I don't know why he chose a giraffe, but it just worked because I think we just hadn't seen an animated stuffed giraffe before, so we thought it'd be really funny.
Yeah, and I love like the playing with the neck, with like the flopping back kind of thing. It was very fun.
Well, it's giraffes have such long necks, it kind of makes sense that it's kind of hard for them to keep their heads stable. And I think the other reason we liked a giraffe is because they kind of look weird, right? If you think about a giraffe, they've got these really long necks and long limbs, and they're kind of lanky, and they're not very graceful. They got these really long eyelashes. They got that really long tongue that like
the blue tongue.
They're just very weird looking. So we just thought it'd be be a fun animal to depict as a stuffed animal.
That's awesome. And I love also, Stevie and Elliot's relationship to it. It feels very authentic to one, a child who loves a stuffed animal and can't let it go, and the other who's like, ew, this is disgusting.
It's so gross, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that extends throughout the rest of the movie too. Like these feel like very authentic kids. Can you talk about getting the way that the kids speak and act correct because without like talking down to anyone?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that's a really pet peeve of mine in films, especially animated films, when characters don't sound real. And I mean, even down to the casting choices, we made sure we didn't hire actors that were, for lack of a better word, like sort of Disney-fied, So yeah, I really wanted that naturalistic feel because I wanted it to feel honest. I wanted Stevie and Elliot to feel like real characters. And so yeah, I think we just drew a lot from our own childhood and how I used to talk as a kid and how my brother used to talk as a kid. Yeah, but it was a really important piece, that sort of naturalistic dialogue and making them feel authentic and real was important.
Yeah, for sure. And then totally on the other opposite end of that, you have that authenticity, but then the movie is called In Your Dreams, so it's all obviously about dreams.
Yeah.
So I'd love to, if we could draw one of the aspects. Well, first off, let's admire Baloney Tony versus this is Baloney
good.
spelled like totally wrong.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but this one's been through it more. This is like new-ish to Elliot.
This is brand new, and this is well worn and well loved.
It's been around for a while. But I would love to talk about one of the first dreamscapes that we head into, which is Breakfast Town.
Yeah.
So first off, where did Breakfast Town come from? Because dreams, infinite possibilities.
Yeah, infinite possibilities.
Tell me how you land on that.
So I wanted the first dream that Stevie and Elliot went into to represent something very familiar, very warm, and it wanted to be a sort of a symbol of the happy period of her life when their family was sort of quote unquote perfect. And when I was a kid, my parents would make breakfast on Sunday mornings. And that always stood out to me as like a really fond memory and such a happy time of life. So that's where it came from, just wanting to find some family event that captured the perfection of life. And I love French toast. And so yeah, I think that's where Queen French came from, and just the idea of breakfast foods, like living, breathing, talking breakfast foods, was just so adorable and so cute and perfect for animation. So yeah, that's where it came from.
Awesome. Yeah, can you walk us through how to maybe visualize parts of the landscape or a particular character that you really like?
Yeah, so I could draw Queen French. She's got, so I usually start, she's kind of like SpongeBob-like. You've got that square, she's like a slice of toast. And then she's got these huge, gaudy eyes. And these really thick eyelashes. And this kind of crazy smile.
I love it.
And then she's got her little crown.
It almost looks like a little muffin.
I know. Well, there is also a muffin character in the film.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about the muffin character in a moment.
And she's got these sort of rubber hosey arms. And these sort of stick legs. So yeah, that's Queen French.
That's awesome. And then how do you take what is a beautiful, I mean, yours is beautiful, mine is already kind of the nightmare version, if we're being honest, but how do you take And I mean, this applies to the entire film, but especially in this little sequence, which I loved. How do you turn something that feels like, this is familiar, this is home, this is French toast with your parents? How do you take that and completely flip it on its head and turn it into a nightmare?
Well, that was easy because, what happens when food goes bad? It goes bad. It turns into mold. It gets, it expires, it gets moldy, it gets rotten. And so that was really fun. It was actually a really big challenge from an effects standpoint because getting the food to turn moldy was, it's all texture based. And so we had to grow that moss, the gross, disgusting moss on them. And so Nikki Lavender, our tech soup, she built this incredible system that allowed us to control the rate at which the mold would grow, not just on the characters, but also on the buildings and in the environment. And so earlier we were talking about how you said that the transition from the dream into the nightmare was sort of gradual. That was deliberate, and it was by design, and we built a whole system to allow that a control over how the rate of the decay in the world and on the characters. So with Queen French and all the characters in Breakfast Town, we had to design sort of a dream version of them and then a nightmare version of them, and then how did we connect the two?
That's so cool. I mean, it's really exciting to watch the environments shift in the background. Like, there's so much going on with the characters, but like if you put your eyes anywhere else during that scene, you'll find something cool to see. And you did mention a muffin character, so we have to talk about her. I've been calling her Pretty Princess. Is that her actual? Incredible.
So in the script, we call her Delilah.
Delilah, okay.
But we never mention her name in the movies, so most people are going to know her as Pretty Princess.
And she is.
She is a pretty princess. That came straight out of Eric Benson's brain.
Incredible.
And I think it was, in the very beginning of the film, Stevie has this Post-it note that says, find your retainer. And I think he built off of that idea, and that it was somewhere behind the fridge. So in the dream world, when she's going back behind the fridge to find Baloney Tony, she runs into this discarded moldy muffin who takes her retainer and wears it as a tiara.
I'm a perfect princess!
Such a bizarre concept, but so funny.
It really didn't occur to me how much a flipped over retainer looked like a tiara. So I was like, that's a fun visual moment. So how do you bring Delilah / the pretty princess she is to life?
So you draw the muffin top first, and then you draw the bottom of the muffin, which is basically her face and her body at the same time. And she's got, her eyes are really far apart.
Tiny!
And they're really far apart. And she's got those angry eyebrows, right? Because she always wants to tickle everybody. And then she's got this really wide, kind of creepy grin and these chiclet teeth.
Oh my gosh.
She also has these kind of rubber hosey limbs. And then of course you got to draw the retainer tiara.
She's a pretty princess.
Yeah, and I think she's made out of blueberries or chocolate chips.
I drew her eyes way too far up. But
no, the further out the better. The more demented she looks.
I love a good demented animated character. It reminds me of there was another Netflix movie called Mitchells versus the Machines. It reminded me of the Furbies in that. Yes. People were just totally demented, and wonderful. I want to ask, there was another kind of creature that I really loved in this movie, the Sandlings, I think they were called, which kind of remind me of the Soot Sprites from Spirited Away in a way. Can you tell me about the inspirations for the Sandlings, which come up in this mythical sandy realm, which I love.
So I'm glad you saw that reference. Maybe I'm just too transparent of a filmmaker.
Anytime I see a cute, anything that's holding a big object that's too big for their bodies, I'm like,
it's a sick character from Spirited
exactly.
Away. Yeah, very much as where I drew the inspiration. I mean, I've been a huge Miyazaki fan since I was a kid, and Spirited Away is just one of his best. For our film, when I conceived of the Sandman, I wanted him, I don't know if you noticed this or if you caught this, but his design feels a lot like Santa Claus. You know, he's got like the body shape of Santa Claus. He's got that big button nose, and you know, Santa Claus obviously has such positive connotations, right? He's like, he gives gifts to children, and so we thought, oh, that's perfect because the Sandman is basically a giver of dreams. And so just like Santa Claus has the elves who make toys for children all over the world, we thought the Sandman should have his own set of elves. But I didn't want to make them human-like characters. Because in the dream world you can do anything, so you should try and push the designs of what you can do with these characters. So yeah, that's where we came up with the Sandlings. And yeah, they kind of look like heart-shaped blobs.
Yeah, I also love that they have the musical number that they
Yes.
have with clearly it's been rehearsed many times
Yeah.
and he needs to get it right.
Yeah,
Can you tell me
exactly.
about like that whole sequence? The fun
Yeah,
of the music?
it was really controversial actually internally because we were like, I don't know, some people were like, oh, it's so campy, and maybe our movie's not really a musical, so should we actually have a musical number in there? But I was like, it's just too perfect. It's just too much fun, and it kind of showcases the Sandman's quirkiness and weirdness, and the idea that he wants the performance to be perfect is a sort of a manifestation of Stevie's desire for perfection. In the same way that Pretty Princess, or Perfect Princess, is sort of a representation of that. Because Stevie's whole thing is that she wants everything in her life to be perfect. So we wanted to manifest that in the dream world in as many characters and in as many ways as we could. So.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I mean, her desire for perfection that extends to, her family,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she can see that her parents are fighting,
Yeah.
and that something isn't quite right there. And I think we've seen movies about parental tensions,
Yeah.
like across the board. I remember Spellbound, I think, from last
Yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah.
Did something where the similar thing was happening for the character. This feels very, authentic, and I think anyone who's ever watched their parents fight can relate to
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Can you talk to me about bringing that story to life, also in a way that feels like you're meeting these kids on their level?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it, again, came directly from my life experience. When I was a kid, my mom went away for a little while, and she, I still don't know why she left. And when I was a kid, she wasn't gonna get into the details. She just told us that she kind of had to figure things out for herself and for our family. She ended up coming back. My parents have been married now for almost 50 years, but that moment in my life, I remember feeling the anxiety and the worry and the deep desire to just want to keep my family together. And so the scenes in the film when Stevie wakes up and she's woken up by her parents arguing downstairs, and she kind of pokes her head out from her bedroom. I mean, that's like taken straight out of my life. And the scene when she watches her mom drive away out of the driveway off to Duluth, that's like, exactly what happened to me when I was a kid. So I think that's how we were able to bring like authenticity to it. And I really just had to, you asked the question of how could we speak to these characters on their level. I mean, it was really just about going back to that time of my life and trying to remember what it felt like and recreating that in the film.
Incredible. I mean, it really comes through, and this is the first feature film from
Yeah.
Cuckoo Studios, which
Yeah.
you founded. What are you most excited about with this being kind of your first entry into the world?
I mean, I think we're really proud of the movie. It was a labor of love. We started it 9 years ago, and it's just something we're so proud of. And I'm so proud of, and everything that we do at our studio and at our company, we want it to be something that we would want to watch ourselves, that we'd be happy to watch ourselves. I think of sometimes like making a movie as like you're inviting a bunch of friends over for dinner and you're making them a meal. And you want to just love on them through food. And in this film, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to love on the audience through the work that we've done. And so, yeah, I think, yeah, the name of our company is Cuckoo Studios, and it's actually inspired. The etymology of the name is that ku in Chinese means cry, and so cuckoo is it's kind of like the Greek theater masks where you have like tragedy and comedy.
Yeah.
So we want to tell stories that make people cry tears of laughter because they're it's so funny that they're crying, and tears of pathos because they're so moved and there's so much heart in the film that they're crying tears of joy. So I think that our film did that. I think we have both the emotions of heart and it's I think it's very, very funny, and I think it's incredibly entertaining. So we're really proud of that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in and showcasing the art. And yeah, everyone watch In Your Dreams on Netflix in November. It's really special. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Should we draw Sandlings?
Do you want to draw Sandlings?
Yeah, let's
sure.
draw Sandlings.
Yeah, let's
I got carried away by talking.
I was like the musical number. Yes, let's see them.
Okay, so it's kind of like a heart without like a pointy bottom, and the Sandlings are kind of sleepy because they operate in the world of sleep, and they've got these kind of like stick legs, and they carry these giant cubes of sand over their head, and these cubes of sand are how they create dreams. So they bring them up to this kaleidoscope, this giant kaleidoscope at the top of the sandcastle, and then the kaleidoscope acts as sort of like a sieve and shaves down these sand cubes into individual grains of sand and activates them and turns them into dreams. And then there's that giant globe in the middle of the sandcastle. That's sort of represents the world. And as each of those grains of sand falls on the planet, it lands on somebody's, the legend of the salmon is that he gives dreams by sprinkling sand in your eyes. So each of those grains is landing on somebody's eye, and that's what's giving them their dreams. And that's why they wake up with those crusties in the morning.
It is so cool to witness in person, like actually see kind of the creativity of that process come through.
Oh,
yeah,
thanks.
It's great.
That's really good.
Yeah, he's a very tired little guy. I love it.
Yours is better than mine. You got the eye bags in there.
That's from experience. I have.
That's so good.
But incredible. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. It was so much fun.